Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Courtney from Dandelion Branding, and today we're going to be talking about customer behavior, how to track it, and more importantly, how to use those metrics to your advantage. We talk a lot about the customer experience at Dandelion Branding because it is something that we specialize in with our clients. The bottom line is, without customers, you don't have a business. So it's incredibly important for you to be analyzing some metrics that are tied to customer behavior on a really regular basis. So in this video, I'll be going over 9 key metrics for you to be tracking that take a look at customer behavior and the different parts of their journey as they come to visit your site and make a purchase. Most of these metrics can either be found in your cart platform like Shopify, or in Google Analytics, or in a heat map program like Crazy Egg or Hotjar. And we made a video all about those two heat map platforms a little bit ago, and so I will link that above. I'm going to break up these metrics into sort of 3 categories. One being before they actually hit your website and what they're doing before, when they're actually visiting your website, and then metrics once they are a customer and once they're within your sort of brand realm, let's say. So before your website visitors get to your site, there are a few really important things that you want to know about them. The first one being the traffic source. How did they end up at your site? How did this customer and where did they click to actually end up on your website? This is incredibly important in order for you to know the effectiveness of the different marketing channels that you have out there. Similarly, number 2 is keywords. And this is something that can come directly from Google Analytics and is really, really fascinating. And it will actually tell you exactly what keywords that your site visitors may have used to find your site if they found it organically. This is a great way if you're trying to work and boost up your SEO, then understanding the keywords for what people are searching before they end up on your site will really be beneficial for you, because then you can know that you should incorporate those terms throughout your site, because those terms are what's on your site visitor's mind. So it's definitely important to know those keywords so you can try to incorporate them however possible. So once your users are actually on your site, what do we want to know about them? Well, we want to know a lot. We want to know as much as possible, really. But some of the things that we can know are what pages they're viewing and what pages they may have first landed on. It goes hand in hand with traffic source, understanding the first pages that your users may have landed on and what subsequent pages they've clicked on afterwards. And this can really show you where your customer's train of thought is. And this is something that heat map programs are really phenomenal at showing for you, because you can actually see exactly how that user is interacting with your pages and what pages they're clicking on, where they're traveling to within your website, and you can get a better understanding for how things are sort of consumed by your user. And there might be things that really surprise you here, so this is definitely something to be looking at on a regular basis. If you are running any sort of sales funnels, or really any sort of marketing initiative that drives people to your website, you can consider that a funnel. This is a buzz term that is used a lot, and some people think that they don't have any sort of funnel set up, but I promise you, you probably do, and you might just not know it. But understanding sort of what those funnels are and how you are getting people to your website, how are you driving them to make that conversion, whatever that may be. Maybe it's a sale, maybe it's signing up for an email list, maybe it's finishing a quiz, etc., etc. There are a lot of options for what a funnel may be, but knowing where in that funnel process your customers are dropping off is really important, because that can kind of show you what pieces might be too tedious for your users, what might be taking too long, maybe something is broken, maybe a field isn't functioning as expected. Even something as subtle as that can really inhibit somebody from finishing a form or completing some sort of action on your site. So understanding where folks are dropping off in your funnels is really important to tell you where you should focus and what you need to optimize. Also, once users are on your website, you will be able to see other data in Google Analytics, like their interests and their demographics. And this information is some of the most useful data that you can grab from Google Analytics, and that's because it really gives you insight into who your site visitors are. If you know that 90% of your site visitors are interested in a certain topic, then perhaps you should start incorporating information about that topic in your content. Take, for example, if your users are all incredibly interested in movies. Well, maybe you know that you can start incorporating more movie quotes or more movie imagery, or talking about, what your favorite movie is, maybe asking them what their favorite movie is. Things like that can really boost engagement, because you have an insight into who your site visitors are as individuals. It can be easy to forget that the numbers that we're seeing when we're looking at page views are actual human beings with lives and entire experiences going about their day, and somehow throughout that day they ended up on your site. And so what this metric is really great at is kind of humanizing this particular number and allowing you to see that these are real people. They're a certain age group, they are a certain gender identity, they live in a certain area, they have particular interests, and all of that are things that you can use to your advantage when it comes to your branding and creating your content. So once users have actually placed an order with your store or have completed an action with your site, you will want to look at a different set of data for their behavior, and it's more so related to their order behavior. And the first one of these metrics is the order cycle. How frequently are your customers placing orders? Are they just placing one, or are they placing more than one? What's the period of time in between those orders? What could potentially be contributing to why folks are not placing a secondary order, or perhaps are waiting a significant amount of time before placing an order? This might be things like you running sales. Perhaps they're expecting for you to run another sale and are waiting to place another order. Things like your packaging. Is your product, if you have a consumable product, perhaps your sizing is quite large and they don't need to place additional orders for 3 to 6 months. That is something that you should be aware of, just for general usage and understanding how your customers are interacting with the products that they purchase from your brand, and how that may affect how frequently they're ordering from your website. Similarly, your customers' repeat order rate is also very interesting, because this is the number of customers that have placed more than one order. And when you're looking at this metric, this can really help you to better understand what you need to optimize. Perhaps you can start a program that rewards second orders. Perhaps you can give some sort of an upsell product to customers for placing a second order. This is definitely something to just be looking at and addressing if you're finding that your repeat order rate is quite low. On that same note, your customers' churn rate is also very important. Churn rate is where your customers are falling off in their actual life cycle. How long does it take for them to no longer be placing regular orders? This is going to be an average number because it absolutely changes depending, from customer to customer. But there are certain things that you can look at, find some trends or some similarities between where particular customers came into your customer journey through a particular marketing initiative or a particular channel or traffic source, and where they are falling off. And this could be really interesting insight. Perhaps you did an effective lead generation campaign and you gave them some sort of an awesome little freebie. But let's say that freebie is no longer really relevant to the content that you're putting out currently. And so you're seeing some of those people that may have signed up during that lead generation campaign now falling off now that your branding or your content has changed. That can be something that is, to be expected to some degree, but it's also a really interesting insight to kind of see, are folks interested in these two different concepts? Are they tied? Or is this group of people absolutely uninterested in this new type of content, and were they really just signing up for the type of information that you first gave out through that lead generation? That's just an example, but that can be really beneficial for you to sort of look at those long-term trends and how people are interacting with your brand and how people are viewing your branding and your content over time. And last but not least, your customers' lifetime value and average order value are absolutely something that you're going to want to be looking at. These metrics can show you how your customers are actually interacting with the individual products that you're selling. So rather than it being on such a high level, like how they're experiencing the content that you're putting out, the average order value and the lifetime value are more so tied to the individual products that folks are ordering. And if you're finding that your average order value is decreasing over time, then perhaps you'll want to look at different products that you can start to add to your line that may be a nice additional upsell or something complementary to the products that folks tend to be ordering more often. The goal, of course, is to always be increasing your average order value and your customer's lifetime value over time. So you will always want to be keeping track of these metrics throughout your year. And all of these metrics are meant to help you to understand better how your customers are interacting with your website, interacting with the content that you're putting out there as a brand, and how all of that affects their experience and whether or not they want to place additional orders and continue to be a customer of yours. These are all incredibly necessary for you to be tracking if you are interested in growing your business. So we really hope that this was useful, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed. We will talk to you next time. Hope you have a good one. Thanks for watching.